Okay. All right. Now let's see. That's the.
All right, today we're in Pickaway County, Court of Common Pleas. That's the court system in Ohio. I'm Judge Fields, presiding. Yeah, ordering the court. Right. So today's case is a defamation case, and this is a civil case of Glavin versus Malcolm. I think I got some of the names wrong when I said some of this stuff. So if you guys mispronounce names or say the wrong name, it's Glavin and Malcolm. And before we get started on this case, I think we have a set of stipulated facts. Is that correct? So we'll go through. So let's go through the stipulated facts to just kind of lay a foundation for this case, and then I'll let each attorney team introduce themselves and give a little bit more. So here are the stipulated facts. These don't have to be established by either side. They're already agreed to. Monica Glavin was a former TV newscaster who became a real estate agent. She met John Malcolm when she represented him as a buyer's agent to help purchase a home. Okay. At some point, I don't know why that. That's a chapel. I didn't know that I had. That's a piece of evidence. Welcome. Right. So at some point in time, their business relationship became a romantic relationship. Julia was and still is married to John during the entire time frame involved in this case. Julia created this website, a post from Winston called she'sahomewrecker.com. That is the center of this dispute. All right. And she'sahomewrecker.com is been shut down. It's no longer an operational webpage, but still shows up in internet search results. Okay. All right. So those are the stipulated facts of the case, the ones that both parties have sort of reluctantly agreed to. So why don't we get started with the actual statement of the case? So from the plaintiff's side, can you please introduce your team and who you represent and what the dispute is about from your perspective?
Your Honor, we are the law firm Conway, and Sig. We are gathered here today to seek justice for our client, Monica Glavin, a dedicated real estate agent whose life and livelihood have been unjustly torn apart by the defendant, Julia Malcolm's defamatory actions. Monica was a former TV news anchor and wanted a new phase in her life. So after a couple of years, became a real estate agent. After finding out about John and Monica's relationship, Julie, without any basis of truth, took to she'sahomewrecker.com to publicly belay Monica, falsely accusing her of being a homewrecker, causing Monica's real estate business to plummet by over 60% in just 3 months. We will conclusively demonstrate that Julie's statements were not only false, but were made with reckless disregard for the truth. We seek to restore Monica's reputation and hold Julie Malcolm accountable for her damaging defamation. Thank you, Your Honor.
That's fantastic opening statement. All right. Thank you very much. All right. From the defendant's side, if you'd introduce yourselves and the statement of your case, your opening statement.
Your Honor, we are the law firm Costa Messler and Wingo. We are representing our client, Julie Malcolm. Ms. Malcolm has been unjustly sued by the plaintiff, Monica Glavin. The defamation of Ms. Ms. Malcolm was a happily married woman that lost it all when she found out Ms. Glavin has been one of Ms. Malcolm was happily married. My bad. Lose my line.
It's okay. Take your time, take a deep breath. You got it.
Ms. Malcolm was a happily married woman that lost it all when she found out Ms. Glavin has been one of the other women that was having an affair with her husband in the months prior. Ms. Malcolm feels like she was exercising her First Amendment right with the freedom of speech when she posted on the She's a Homewrecker website. The plaintiff is going to try to persuade you into thinking that Ms. Glavin was in the case due to the significant loss in the real estate business. However, it is Ms. Malcolm that is a suffering party, as she has lost her husband to Ms. Glavin and is undergoing stressful episodes within her family. Today, we will prove that Ms. Malcolm's actions do not follow the criteria theory for defamation case that she has every right to voice her opinion.
All right. So, let me kind of get an aside here for the viewing audience. So, I think I told you that in every case, it's not a it's not a good guy and a bad guy, right? Like it's not an overwhelming, here it is on one side, this is the other. In this case, there actually is a bad guy, right? There's a really, really bad guy, and he is not on trial. Okay, he's not in the court. He's probably this courtroom is probably the last place on earth he would actually want to visit. Right? So he's not here. He's not on trial. You can't convict him. You can condemn him in your head, but there's no place in the jury deliberations for any other type of condemnation. So, so what? So, this is a case about defamation, and it revolves around a web posting on she'sahomewrecker.com. And so what I want to do now is let the plaintiff give a more full statement of the case, pass out. I've got the actual web posting for people to have. You can pass it out when it makes sense for you to pass out, but why don't you give a fuller statement of your case, the elements that you have to prove in order to do that, and at the same time, where's my other handout? So there should be a notes page. Oh, here it is. Okay, so I'll pass this out for everybody to take notes on about this case. All right, so take notes. Once again, your papers will be because based on the facts and the deliberations in this case. Thank you. Okay. All right, so with that all being said, plaintiff, why don't you give a more full introduction of your case and the different elements that you need to prove in order to prove defamation in Ohio. This is actually the statute if you want to refer to it at any point in time. So that's what the plaintiff has to show. So why don't you go ahead and explain your perspective on the different elements of defamation and how they actually apply to this case.
Yeah, so pretty much number one, made a false and defamatory statement. Julie alleged that Monica.
Before you do that, so do you want to pass out the web posting as an exhibit to introduce before you start false statements of fact or not?
Yeah,
Yeah, why don't you do that, because they should be able to look along, kind of look along with you.
You guys can, you can drag along.
Read along at home,
Yeah,
sort of thing. So you've introduced plaintiff's exhibit 1, which is the web posting that you're gonna use it, and then so why don't you go ahead and walk your way through the elements?
Okay, so the first claim that Julie makes in her post is that this nasty real estate agent, referring to Monica, she calls her a tramp.
Well, why don't we give them a minute to read it so that they've read it, and then you can go through it kind of more systematically. So, because otherwise I'm just gonna be reading it while you're talking. Otherwise, it's a good idea, but it's just. It's just fly. You know what it actually is? Is that this is actually from the web. What it means is it's like on the website it's put in the words slut or whore. So then you want to tell me where that came from? Not introducing new vernacular to my otherwise innocent business law students. All right, I think that's probably good enough. So go, why don't you go ahead?
About Monica is that she seduced her husband. This is not true, as John and Monica entered into a mutual relationship. Second claim was she Julie said, "What kind of real estate agent dates her clients?" There is no real estate ethics rule that prohibits dating clients. Our big one here is that Julie in her post says, "Still waiting on my STD results to come back, but I'm not hopeful at this point." This is alleging that her husband John contracted an STD from sleeping with Monica, but as you can see, her Monica has no STDs and has never had sex with John. So that is not possible. And then another case of defamation is at the very end of her post. It says, "If you are a woman and seek her, consider yourself warned." This is this is a straight shot at Monica, telling people essentially to avoid her, and this is hurting her business.
Okay, so let's go through these. Okay, so you've established some false and defamatory statements. Okay, are they about Monica? Is Monica's name's not in this post? How do you know it's about her?
There's the clip to me.
Half the video piece comes up when you search Monica's name.
Okay, so this is the actual.
It's the headshot from her LinkedIn profile.
So okay, so what you're saying is that it's about the plaintiff because you can see the pictures of hers. Yeah, okay, that's good. The pictures is just as good as its name. So I was just trying to throw you for a loop there. I did. All right. Is it about the plaintiff? Is it published to a third party?
It is. It's published to, though the website was taken down, it's still viewable when you search Monica's name on Google. It still pops up and you can still see pieces of it.
You can still see pieces of the information from the webpage itself. Okay. And okay, so then you also need to assert that there's either fault as negligence if the case is, if it's not a public person, or if it is a public person, then you have to have actual malice, which we'll talk about in a second. So let's get to the fault. Is this defamatory per se, according to Ohio law? Those are the three categories of things that are defamatory per se. What would you like to argue that why this was defamatory per se?
You can argue all three of those. So number one, words that indicate plaintiff has an offensive or contagious disease. As I mentioned before, Julie loosely alleges that Monica was the source of a possible STD that she may have contracted from her husband via Monica. This is not true, but this false allegation would make Monica sort of an outcast to society.
Okay, that's a good argument. Okay, so what about the second one?
So just so if you're a woman and seek her, consider yourself warned. And she, if you are in a relationship, ladies, don't let her near your husband. So this is going to scare off a lot of potential clients for Monica, because couples are less likely to use her for her services. And this is evidenced by her new business dropping by over 60% within 3 months of this posting.
So who buys houses?
Couples.
Yeah, I mean, it's not all couples. I mean, some single people do, but predominantly, in order to be able to afford a house, you need to have at least one really strong income or two incomes. So in general, couples would be the people that would be utilizing real estate services. So if nobody wants to use you because they don't trust you as a couple, it's not going to work for you. So okay. And then that last one, tending to subject the plaintiff to public hatred, ridicule, or contempt. Is that related to what you just said?
That's related to what I just said.
Okay.
That when they're trying to make her an outcast, and Monica said, Yeah, in our report here, a couple weeks later, Monica noticed that there were very few new clients calling to engage with real estate. Moreover, she found herself getting cold shoulders and nasty looks from neighbors and even random people on the street.
Okay,
So
so she was,
all,
so her subjective experience lines up with that third one, that she's experiencing some level of public hatred, ridicule, or contempt. Okay,
and we are arguing this case that it's not a public figure.
you are, oh, yes, so let's kind of clarify Monica's status. Okay, so Monica was a TV newscaster, right? And in her role as a TV newscaster, she would definitely be considered a public figure, right? Like newspaper articles will be written about her, even her personal life,
Yes.
right? But now she's a real estate agent, and so what's your argument that she is no longer a public figure? At least according to the way we define public figures, right?
So Monica, she voluntarily stepped out of her position in the public spotlight, and moved into a new, start of life as a real estate. Did her fame help her success? Maybe a little bit, but she's no longer in the public spotlight. And as you can see, in section B of law of public figures, acquired adequate status to combat the harms resulting from negative criticism. Monica no longer has a platform to combat these negative claims about herself.
Okay.
If she were still a TV news anchor, she could come out and make a statement that these aren't true. She no longer has that kind of status or position here.
Okay, that's great. That's fantastic. Okay, is there anything else you wanted to add in terms of like the statement of the case? So you're arguing so then you're arguing that she was at least negligent on the part of defendants, like the fact that this making untrue statements is kind of the way we would like not using ordinary care in your speech.
Yes.
And making untrue statements. Okay. All right. That's a great opening statement. So let's give a statement of rebuttal from the perspective of the defense. What facts would you like to add to this picture, or how would you like to address the claims that were just made by the plaintiff with respect to this post?
Yeah, she did incorporate her own emotion within her post. And yes, she did tell others about her family's experience that involved the plaintiff. But when looking over the facts of the case, they're all just actions. Our client feels like she had the right to voice her opinion and also Mrs. Gladwell ruined her marriage and she has no more compact. Mrs. Gladwell knew that John was married and had a family, but still met with him regularly.
Okay, so let's speak to the knowledge element. How is it that so you're saying the defendant or the plaintiff, sorry, you're saying that the plaintiff Monica knew about the relationship that existed? So how do you know that she knew?
She actually knew several weeks prior to Julie actually figuring out that they were having an affair.
How did she know?
Well, she ended up figuring out from her husband through text messages that back up her statement, and also putting on the part where they mentioned about the STD. She didn't necessarily say that Monica is the reason for. She also mentioned prior that her husband was sleeping with multiple people, therefore, she's not subjecting or saying that it's necessarily Monica's fault or that she has an STD. She said she was worrisome and that she's hopeful that it is not. She didn't necessarily direct it towards her type intending or attending this.
Okay, so when it comes to a defamation suit, the primary defenses to defamation are that the statements made were true, but their statements were made or were opinion or substantially true, right? So, and if you could show that she's a public figure, then all you have to show is that you knew that they were false when you made the statements, right? Like, okay, so let's start with let's go through some of the defenses that you would normally apply. So let's start with truth. do you want to argue that the things that she said were true? Yes or no? And let's talk about each one as you go through.
I said, yes, and, but, everything she said was true. Also, on the add on, when they said that she's a tramp that seduced her husband, seducing actually, my definition is enticing someone into a sexual activity, and entices, in other words, break down or to a trap or tempt offer, etc. advantage. But as you see in the picture, she is kissing her husband. It is a tempt of offering pleasure.
Okay. So by the very definition of seducing, you're saying that the picture is proof enough that there is a seduction of some sort taking place. Okay, that's good. What are the other statements of fact that we had at issue here? We had the seduction. We have these warnings against going or entering into business or and warning women in the future. We also have this STD thing. So what did you want to say? How did you want to address the implications of the STD, or at least the inference of an STD? How would you address that from the defense perspective?
What she said, still waiting on my STD results to come back, and I'm not hurtful at this point. She didn't necessarily correct, Monica having or taking STD. She mentioned that, uh, did mention that, her husband was sleeping with multiple women. She wasn't necessarily directing that it was Monica that obtained STD. She said she was worrisome that she might have obtained an STD.
Okay, all right.
The process of, still being, probably obtaining a relationship with Megan's.
Okay, all right. Um,
And, and the test came back and it was big.
so there was no actual STD. Okay, all right. Okay, and let's see if there's was there any other statements of fact that were at issue? Um, how would it, are you guys, if you guys, is there anything else that you'd like to add from your perspective about the posting of this case? I know you guys got a lot of detail, so
I guess the one thing that I'll say is that it more has to do with her opinion. Like the First Amendment protects her, it's a part of the freedom of speech.
so what would you, when you're looking at the post, what would you say is her opinion as opposed to a statement of fact that could be falsified?
She's Gladwell ruined her marriage. And she also said that she feels like she has no moral compass. Miss Gladwell knew that John was married and had a family. So she feels like she was still betrayed by this other woman. Because of Miss Gladwell starting to see her husband, she is the enemy of any decent woman out anywhere. I think that our client feels like she is one of the decent women that she's been betrayed by this mom.
So those are all just they're just statements of opinion of somebody who's been
Right.
okay. These are not facts in dispute. Okay.
All the factual evidence is, all the claims that she did make regarding the situation are factual.
Okay.
And backed up through investigations.
One thing we need to address that we didn't address is Monica considered to be a public figure? Yes or no?
I think so, doesn't be.
You guys want to argue that she is a public figure? That she,
You guys can say no.
I'm saying, she lived in TV newscaster, but.
yeah, she was a TV newscaster and now she's a real estate agent. Okay.
Chris Bates had them on.
Okay.
She was a local, popular newscaster, so most people within the community know her. So that makes her a public figure. Now she's a real estate agent, so
Yeah.
she's still in the public eye.
For example, most people you can't just like look like a walk picture of them on the internet, as you can see, she was able to.
Yeah. Yeah. You ever Googled yourself? It can be kind of scary. So yeah. All right. All right, so that's all great. Okay, and so okay, so let's do this. Let's have the defense or the so the plaintiffs, can you respond to any of the things that you heard there from your perspective?
Uh, so they mentioned that Monica ruined their marriage stuff. So they said that the husband and Julie they were separated for like 6 months, and the husband lied to Monica, but the husband he was working on getting divorced.
Okay, so you're going back to the start of the relationship. So the start of the relationship, you're saying that John's the guy's name, right? John, he misled
Yeah.
Monica. Okay, so how did he mislead Monica?
He didn't really tell her that he was still married.
So he didn't tell her that he was married,
Yes.
Yeah.
right? He pretended something different, which was what he was divorced.
Yes.
Yeah, so for like the first three or for like the first couple of weeks, yes, they got into a romantic relationship and then they went out to go get coffee. And then he said, oh, I have a confession to make. I'm still not like legally divorced yet. And then he basically says, yes, I have yes, I'm married, not technically divorced, and his ex-wife was controlling and an awful woman who fought tooth and nail over the custody of child support issues. And he said that they've been separated for 6 months. So with the information that Monica was giving by John, she had no clue that they actually were like a healthy relationship. And when a mutual friend and then okay, after Monica searched up her name and found out like, hey, like why am I on this website? She tried to text John, but John blocked her. And so from a mutual friend, Monica was given the information that John and Julie actually had a good relationship. So Monica had no clue of knowing like their relationship beforehand. So whenever it says like, or whenever Julie said, we had a happy home until this tramp seduced my husband, Monica had no clue, never destroyed my marriage. She thought their marriage was already destroyed. Um, and yeah, so Monica had no idea, given the information based off of John.
Okay. Is there anything that you guys as a defense, is there anything that you would like to add to those statements?
So, while we understand that John did lie about his marriage and said that he was divorced originally, it was weeks afterwards that he then texted Monica saying that he was actually in a healthy relationship, and our client was able to get John to confess that and show her all the text messages and saying that Monica actually did know about it. So originally, yes, she did not know. However, after that text message exchange, she would know that
They were still married.
they were still married. They were still happily married with 2 girls.
Okay. All right. So
She still
So,
did
yeah.
not care.
She continued to shut the reach after the fire.
yeah. So do you see why I call this trial Hell Hath No Fury? Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. We've got 2 scorned women fighting it out in court, right? So, all right. So let's get. What we'll do like that right now is kind of give your final statement, final closing argument, why you think you should win this case, and unless you had anything to add about the core statements of the case. What do you think? So, all right. So we'll start with the plaintiff side. You want to give your closing statement?
So yes, so we acknowledge that Julie had freedom of speech, but you have to acknowledge that Julie's right or yeah, sorry, we acknowledge Julian's right of speech, but we emphasize that this right is not absolute when it comes to making false, damaging statements about someone that harmed their reputation and livelihood. So because of the negative comments that were made, and or false comments that were made about our client Monica, her reputation went down the drain. It went from it went down 60% from 3 months. And yes, she has freedom of speech, but because of these false statements, because she said that she destroyed their marriage, and she seduced my husband. And she also like ruined like her romantic relationship. So Monica's life was basically just ruined because of this. And yes, she did make false statements.
Okay.
And also, as I said before, Monica was not aware of the real situation and was giving false information, which John led her to believe that Julie and John had no more of a relationship. John said that he looked forward to ending the divorce war and moving on with his life, and that they were gonna get divorced a couple weeks after John had told Monica. And to this, or yeah, to this court trial, if you search on Monica's name, it still pops up with all of the false statements. Uh, and we believe that Julie should be accused of defamation.
Okay, should be still civil. So yes. All right. So from the defense side, would you like to give your closing statement? Right. You ready?
Yes, sir. You've heard both sides now. The plaintiff has tried to prove that their client lost business due to the post that our client made. The plaintiff claims that she was wrong by our client by stating facts and Miss Malcolm's personal opinion on the website that meant to warn her from those who cheat with their style. It is our position that Ms. Gladwell has no one to blame but herself for the loss of business. Ms. Malcolm is still hurt by the actions of her husband, Ms. Gladwell. Ms. Malcolm wanted to warn others of the type of person that Ms. Gladwell really needs. Seeing as she was a public figure and working closely with the community, how can you blame Ms. Malcolm for feeling like it was her duty to protect the other woman who also may be hurt by Ms. Gladwell's actions? How many other spouses has she had a romantic relationship with? Why we are asking that you not only look at the obligations that Ms. Malcolm saw to uphold in her career, but also the emotional damages that Ms. Gladwell never told her time. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So okay, so here's what we're gonna do for the jury, okay? I'm gonna break you guys up into 3 different juries. I'm just gonna number you off again. So we'll go Junior 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And here's what you need to do in the jury. You need to go to the comments and answer them. So we'll put jury 1 will be in this corner, 2 in this corner, 3 over here. What you need to ask was, were there false statements of facts made by the defendants? Were those false statements of facts understood to be about the plaintiff published to a third party? Is the plaintiff considered a public figure? And then some questions about if they are not. And finally, anything to damage us. One task. Give up. What's up? She's a whole nighter.
Yeah, that's what. So, because I said I told them that share. Section C. Yes. I remember that one wire. That's right. Yeah, that's what I said. So no one works. That's it's quick. I go. It's his fault. Yeah. But he can't try hard. Give no further. Sir. Like And different.
It's pretty fair. And we're getting our earnings, it's at zero. That's why it's very bad. Simply it's always. You can write something that she's saying, yeah, trying to get them. People saying it's good, yeah, and so why. Here, moving on. It's. Or did you know where this was from? Here. Stuff.
There's no.
So.
It's gonna be tough to, I think, well, that's the. Don't cheat. Don't do this.
You just like so let's say.
You could say no if you're.
Yeah.
You can say things.
Actually, I'm more false about trying to story.
Yeah, it's sort of like one that says that you can't even or something like that, like once you get one side, you either represent them.
Yeah, you can't really. That's why some people.
Solve does. When they go to stores, they'll go and solve that way. Trying to get out. That way you hear the person. Like you can't get smart, you can't.
It doesn't work safely.
Yeah, but you can go there, you can go to the last. So. Those lots of things. Yeah, these guys are, hey, I know. Yeah, of course.
Like
With that, it's like, like, we only go it to sell it out. Just.
Yeah, and it's like,
Yeah, like. Time forces. See, you know, start to do it here. It's like. This is very like me, like, would you go to trial? You know, like, I'm wearing. I'm like, that's like, oh. The more you talk, the worse she thinks it's James. You know what I mean? Like, more, she's like 1 5 hour. Like, oh, yeah, this work, this work, this work. Right, exactly. It's like, I was in that course gets worse. Really great. Understanding what you know, and what's fine, so you make first. In my call, like, I just gave it back side, and then people that thought facts. Like,
oh, there we are.
and you're like, oh, they're China's on it, it's really bad, there's like, yes, so hard to bring the face, I was like. The news take out the back, and it's like, that's what happened. But you know, it's a dude that was cheating on his wife. For lying, he's like, she's not, Mark's gonna get. It's a, yeah, it's a. Definitely. He's trying to,
so yeah, so the public figure, it's really hard to get public figures.
You know, I'm not sure if you explain that out here.
Yeah.
You're good first. Oh. Broken down. Oh, it's exactly. You can speak. We can. Oh, yeah. Right.
Well, like one impression.
Yeah. Plus. We're really getting these kinds of. It's Felix point stuff and you're like, those almost like you know, it's cases done. It's like you were saying, because you have your votes. You know, next part, yeah, just no, this is counting. But see, that's not the thing, this is that's not like it snaps at the time for it. It's like it's not no. Yeah, that's the reason my last. You know, I don't have to tell you about big thing. Yeah, yeah, it's really up to the strong. Like, still, it turned out. They come out, and then, like, oh, like, we're going to be like, you know, she's, it's clear, it's just really honest. I'm sorry, we got to see what it is. You know, like, mom brings up the price, goes, she puts her something, it's like, I try to speak my hand, shit, it's actually enough. Feels just like yeah, before that, well, that's far from it. I feel like no.
But if you heard, like, I mean, yeah, she can agree on. Yeah, it's not gonna be split, like. So right now, we're gonna try to stand, try to see if we can solve. So.
He's wearing a penny, he's gonna wear that.
So.
It's like that. Yeah.
Interested. Like, I can read anything. So.
How are you guys? How are you guys doing? You're done? Done? Okay.
And now. It's not. Oh, look at this one. Okay. Usually, like, you can see it, like. You can like see it back. The spice in it, they're calling it later.